How's it going, Nakama, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be celebrating 25 years of One Piece. In this video, in no particular order, we're going to be going through my most iconic moments through the last 17 years of following the series. Each of these are going to be broken up into Renaissance or different versions of when I was able to watch it, beginning in 2005 all the way up into 2022. So now, let's get reckless with the video. First, Renaissance. For me, One Piece came into my life in April of 2005. That is when Toonami started running it Saturday evenings, 2 episodes, and I believe it was 10 and 10:30. So I really got me an hour, 43 minutes of One Piece. There are many moments that are still jumbled up in my head because again, this is from all the way back in 2005, 2006. And I remember watching One Piece religiously on Saturdays to the point I was lying about my curfew with the basketball team and the football team so I could get home in time to watch One Piece. In this early time, this is my first Renaissance. And that's where I was tuning in Saturday evenings to really be able to take into the story. And the first part that stands out for me is going to be the walk on Arlong Park. Up until now, we've seen so many moments of One Piece that truly go crazy for. There's Mihawk's introduction, there's the interaction with Shanks when Luffy was younger. But for me personally, this is where everything really started to show its own narrative. Not only was this a great mixture of music, but it was also one of the first times that the sentiment started to play in. Yes, we had Sanji and Usopp and all of that stuff, but this is where it really hits. And you start to say, this is different. All culminating in the release of our Navigator. And finally someone who up until this point, I wasn't really sure on. Now after this point, Nami was fully part of the team. And I was so on board with that. The second part of my first Renaissance that I will remember until the day I die is Chopper's goodbye. As I mentioned, didn't have the best home life, parents divorced. So I had issues with my dad, not the best time with my mom. So similar to Chopper, I had these varying understandings of parent and the relatives around me. Also, military kid. I've never been anywhere for more than 3 years of my life, so I was always the new kid. And seeing a tall, brown-skinned individual who just wanted a friend, it still hurts and it still hits because up until this point in life, you know, always have to quash your feelings and quash your emotions, and you don't have to do all this stuff. When we're leaving Drum Island and Dr. Kureha sends up those cannons and everything creates the giant cherry blossom, I cried so hard. I still remember. It was February 2006. I'm about to graduate and go off to college and just leave home. So in that, it's still hitting. As someone who has always been incredibly tall, I was very small inside as a human being. And seeing Chopper hit all of these points on who I am as a person, it was the first time in anime and fiction really, where I truly connected. This is, up until now, everyone says, oh, this is where One Piece got me. This is where One Piece got me. Arlong Park is where One Piece got me. Drum Island is where One Piece became a part of who I am. This is 2006 when that happened. It's 2022. I'm 34 years old, and I guarantee you, it is still so salient to me now as it was almost 2 decades ago. For my second of the 17 most iconic moments for me personally, it was seeing Chopper just break in the snowy weather while outside it's Michigan and it's freezing, and inside I am just crying because of this fictional story about pirates that means so much to me. The second Renaissance. I say that this is my second Renaissance because in the first part, I was watching on Toonami. It was week to week and I had to stick to it. Alabasta had just ended and a lot of individuals were kind of left hanging that loved One Piece. We just went through hundreds of episodes and now we're just like, what next? And clearly the story's not done. So in college, I was able to find websites that stream One Piece. You may be thinking that's not a big idea. Think about 2006 internet. Yeah. Rest in peace, watch One Piece online. Rest in peace, Kiss Anime. And in this, I immediately made the transition from the 4Kids on Toonami into the Japanese subversion, really for the first time. And it was bizarre reading everything, but I was along for the journey. This is my introduction to Bellamy. The voice actors were completely different, and it was just this whole new world and a great feeling. Going into Skypiea, a lot of amazing things happened to the point where I'll never forget this. Again, this is the trend with a lot of these moments. Luffy punching Enel into the bell. because that was the first time you really be able to see it within that sub version. And again, shout out to the people in the early 2000s who were subbing those videos on the fly without anyone's help. Y'all are the real goats. And thus ended a culmination of a huge big bad that I'm watching with Luffy's voice actor. And personally, it was one of the more iconic moments because I became that much closer to the actual true story of One Piece. Yes, the English versions were adequate back then, but in that moment, when you hear Luffy screaming, can you hear it, old man? Can you hear the bell? The bell is in the sky. Over a decade later, it's still something that really hits me. Oh boy. So within the second Renaissance, we get to Water 7, Enies Lobby. And at this point, I'm 19 years old. Usopp has always been someone that I was fond of. He made me laugh, but I never knew that we would get to this instance. I still remember being incredibly tense and incredibly frustrated at everything going on. Usopp not acknowledging what was happening, and Luffy seemingly playing it off like it was nothing. Both of them were in the wrong in that moment, and I still remember the tension building, arguing, the screaming, and then finally Luffy was about to say something that I didn't realize at the time was going to be so impactful, and Sanji kicked him. And I'm just like, what is happening to my friends? For me, back when I was younger, I did not have this close-knit of a friend group that I have today. And within that fight, that visceral screaming about leaving Nakama behind felt like it was literally right next to me. One Piece has these instances where true life is really being reflected. And while I did not have anyone close to me to have those arguments, it was like you were watching an argument between your own friends. Robin Schwan! I'll admit, back in 06 when we first met Robin, wasn't the biggest fan. She was hot, she was interesting, but I was like Zoro when he was just like, I don't trust you. And then we started to learn more, and she started smiling and being relaxed. And I remember slowly paying more and more attention to this character. One who did some really cool things in Skypiea, did some research, allowed us to understand what was happening, but we don't really know about. And that switch of her taking off happened so quickly when I was younger, I did not recognize what was happening. The culminations of Water 7, the buildup of Enies Lobby, to get to the point where Robin shouts, I want to live, as Luffy, screaming at her, tells her, I am not going anywhere until you tell me. To finally see people that were worth fighting, I felt like I was getting to that point in life. This is fall of 2007, I'm a sophomore in college, I'm binging One Piece in my bedroom because my roommate's gone all the time. So this was a great time, and I remember just sitting watching Water 7. And I'll never forget how it made me feel as a person to understand the lengths that you will go for someone you love. Have I found people like that? Yes. But back then, it was so foreign, and the weight comes off of her. And Saul's words finally resonate that someday you're gonna find people that make you laugh. It means the world. This is one of the more standard ones on this list, but that just really goes to show the aspect of One Piece and the beauty that it hits us no matter when we watch it, for binging it, for reading it. However, this is the majesty of One Piece. And to finally end out my second Renaissance, we have Zoro's Nothing Happened. In Thriller Bark, it wasn't my cup of tea. To where I left, came back to binge, and wasn't necessarily week to week. And then we get the end, with Bartholomew Kuma taking on all of the exhaustion, all the pain out of Luffy, and Zoro nearly passing out for a little bit. There are many aspects in One Piece where I thought the story was going to end or someone was actually going to die. And again, when I'm younger, 19 at the time, I really thought that Zoro was going to die. And honestly, that was one of the first moments where it hit, understand this is how you truly support someone. Now, this ends my second Renaissance because I went back and started watching the sub from the first episode. Why do you ask? 4Kids did not include Laboon. So that emotional impact that everyone else had when Brooks says that Laboon's who he's waiting for, you don't get. For all of those who are watching the Toonami 4Kids version, they skipped Little Garden and they skipped Reverse Mountain. Meaning that I had missed so many different things in my understanding of One Piece. That's why the Laboon moment isn't on here. I had no idea what was happening And when Luffy says, "We've met that whale," I literally remember saying out loud, "When?" In understanding what had happened, I then went back and started all over One Piece and was able to not only experience that Laboon moment, so not only was Nothing Happened an integral to me as a Zoro fan, a manga fan, a friend, but it also forced me to then go back and restart One Piece in what I call my third renaissance. This third renaissance takes place the latter part of college. And as you'll notice, first renaissance, I was a teen. Second renaissance, I'm a young college student. And now in my third renaissance, I'm become a young adult on my own, if you will. In 2009, I experienced what I had thought was the second time that One Piece had ended. And that was with the loss at Sabaody Archipelago. Again, rewatched everything, having this amazing binge, on my way, just got done laughing my butt out at Duvall and being very interested in what Luffy was able to do to his ox, but thought this was going to be a quick and very easy saga. After Luffy knocks the life out of St. Charlos, everything goes to hell, and that results in what I felt truly was the ending of One Piece. There were a few episodes after it, so thankfully I was able to keep going, but I stopped. Even though you know it's still continuing, that was such an emotionally jarring moment that I can really only compare to the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. Something where your brain is forced to take it in, but everything about what you understand about the world means that it just makes no sense, but it's happening, and you just have to roll with it. Okay, Amazon Lily is on here, little for the reason you're thinking. Not only we're introduced to Boa, personally, of the Snake Sisters, Sandor Sonia is my favorite. And within that, we got some of the best jokes ever, especially after what was really a traumatizing arc. Within this, Luffy gets caught on the island of all women and is about to be killed. When and during the fight, this dude unleashes Conqueror's Haki. It's December 2009. I'm the only one in my college fraternity because I was a basketball player and I got to stay on campus. And I was just binging One Piece between practice. And in this moment, Luffy telling them to stop. I sat up in my chair, only person in this house, screaming, what the hell just happened? We saw it with Rayleigh. Maybe he was able to use it in focus. But for Luffy to send out this blast, it mystified me. Over 400 episodes in, that One Piece still is able to surprise me about a main character. It's mind-blowing how Oda's able to do it in his writing through these little bits and pieces. And for Haki, which was being seen all throughout One Piece, to finally start to come into its own, you really just can't put into words just how important it is. Ace saves Luffy. So I'll admit, I was spoiled to what happened to Ace. I didn't know when it would happen, but I was spoiled because when I was binging Impel Down, they had mentioned, hey, Ace's mom, Port Gasti Rouge, and I was a 20-year-old boy, so I'm looking her up. And in looking up Port Gasti Rouge, I remember seeing all these gorgeous photos back in the day. You see Rouge, you see Ace's dad, yeah, was spoiled on that too. And then you see Ace, deceased. I was sick all night. And then I finally get to the moment where Ace passes away. And unfortunately, my best friend, one of the two people I found that I needed the most in the world, committed suicide. And as I sit there watching the video, everything that I was forcing down from losing Josh hit me in the moment. My laptop fell off and broke. And it was one of the more raw moments I've ever had in my life. No matter where Luffy is in his adventure, there are still moments that allow me to understand how I can rationalize what's happening to me. And to see Luffy just go limp, it was something I never allowed myself. But I need it. And it's moments like that that make One Piece truly valuable to me just as a person. To remind me that even though this is a fictional world, you can truly find out how to be human just by watching the show. Luffy takes on the PXs on the return to Sabaody. Y'all, I was wildin'. This is late 2011. still dealing with the loss of a friend, but I'm still able to binge One Piece every once in a while. But whenever I'm able to find time, it is truly a spectacular moment. And binging the return to Sabaody, getting to see all the new designs, whew, now he was looking fine. Robin always looks fine. Franky, I was down with. It's funny seeing people now just being like, whoa, Franky. I was definitely like Chopper back in the day. Just, what's going on? What is he, why is he, like, all of it was just so cool. Usopp with abs, like, what is happening? And finally, we get these monsters that traumatized us so much since Sabaody before. When they knocked out the fake Straw Hats, and Sentomaru said, take out the real Luffy. And Luffy dodges and he goes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Too slow. Oh! When Luffy said too slow, oh man. And it's one of those moments when your friend tells you that everything's gonna be okay and you truly, truly believe. We're never going to have that lower. It was just so refreshing. This moment really played in my head multiple times since 2012. And when it happened, I didn't really value it as I do now as an adult. When Chopper in Fishman Island became his beast form, and he's like, don't worry, I've got it. I'm alright being a monster because I have friends now. I wasn't there yet personally, which is why it didn't hit me. There was another Marine arc that was definitely a filler, and we fought some kid with his big beast arm, and Chopper again said that moment. And that was when I had finally gotten there after years of trying to figure out who I was and understand. So while those two moments are relatively the same, this is the moment that truly stands out because Chopper got to a place before I did. And it really allowed for me to understand that now it's okay to be monster. But I have friends that I love. As we start to wrap up a lot of these most iconic moments for me personally, the next really has to be Usopp getting observation haki during Dressrosa as he snipes out Sugar to take her out. Some people may think, why is this out of all of Dressrosa? Because we understood that Sanji and Zoro were gonna get haki. We understood this Zoro way back in the day. All of these aspects, Sanji's very intuitive, been showing that since the very beginning. This is the first moment when you feel like everybody on the crew can get haki in some moment. And it was just a mind-blowing moment because this is 2015. I have been watching One Piece for 10 years at this point. Never thought that anyone would get a level up like that. And now, the world's my oyster. Maybe Robin has observation haki. Nami definitely seems to possibly have observation haki, how she can sense the wind. Maybe Chopper's brain boost is observation haki. We just don't know. And that's the amazing part about it because you may think that you know these characters to the frickin' T, but you don't know what potential they have. And 10 years in, to have that moment really reinvigorated a lot of just love for the series. So Dressrosa was an amazing adventure, but the arc of Zou was so compact and so intriguing that it completely flipped how the narrative really felt for me. Because we finally got the understanding of the red concepts. It was 2017. I have officially been watching One Piece for 12 years at this point, and to see the first inkling on how we get to the end, it's both incredible and terrifying. And that's not to say that you should be afraid for these last 5 years of One Piece, but it is to say that that's how much it means to you when you only have a certain amount of time left for something that you care about. It makes everything else taste so much better, feel so much more alive, and the reading makes it so much more exciting. And finally, what is the final moment of my third renaissance in watching One Piece is when Sanji hears Pudding and who she really is as she takes out Reiju. At that moment, I was in a failing relationship. Similar writing. Obviously, she didn't have a third eye, and it finally fell apart in a way that felt truly like there are many times when I can use Sanji as a foil for what's happening around me, sometimes when I'm simping. One Piece really finding you in realms where you're the lowest and allowing for you to better understand how you can move forward, even though it's a fictional story. Fourth renaissance. Up until now, I've been watching One Piece, but in the fall of 2018, I moved to the manga. This is primarily because of something Rogers Base said in regards to Usopp when he had a fight against the Fishman Pirates. And an important moment that he had but that was never in the anime. So I slowly start reading from one. And as I'm reading, I'm on my way down to Peru for just a getaway, tending bar and doing all this stuff. So I'm just reading on the plane. But the anime is in the fight of Katakuri versus Luffy. So I'm watching the anime as well. And so I get to the point of the fight where they cut it off. So I just start binging the manga at that point. So I'm reading from the beginning. I'm binging the fight of Luffy versus Katakuri, and I'm watching it in the anime. So this is 3 different points. I do this for a few months where I'm watching the anime, continuing reading the manga because, hey, why not? And then I'm starting the manga from the very beginning. So I'm in Orange Town, entering Wano, and I'm watching the anime. Overwhelmed by One Piece, but this is truly one of the happiest times in my life. It's 2018. Full year of being a part of the community, finding all these One Piece YouTubers, starting talking about these types of things with my friends. All is just, it's just a fun year to be alive. And truly, I let my hair down and starting to understand who I am as a happy person. And this gets to the end of 2019. Seeing Roger's face, and Odin said he just laughed. I put the phone down and just walked. I'll always remember that. I spent my life knowing about Roger, and to see him find the One Piece 15 years after I started my journey, it's a mixture of nostalgia, of happiness, of sadness, of just pure antiquated bliss. Robin's Devil Fruit. As I mentioned earlier, Robin was someone I wasn't really fond of, and she grew on me and she won my heart. She is my top waifu, but she hadn't gotten any fights. She'd been relegated to a background character, and she is still much more because she actually can fight. And then we got her versus Black Maria, and whoo, demonio, demonio, y'all screaming. What I'm guessing is an awakening of her fruit, but the Demon Robin, level of hype that will just never be surpassed. And lastly, the Nika no Mi. I've known Luffy for over 17 years. He was just the user of the Gummy no Mi. It's emotion and a feeling that really has no other words. And I've said this a lot, but if you'll go back and watch our live stream, I was crying from the very beginning. It was an emotional moment that I wanted to wash over and overwhelm. That boy ate that devil fruit as a mistake, as a fluke, that we thought. And we were conditioned to think that it was a fruit that just wasn't very useful, when it was actually the most useful of all. And now that we understand the nature of it, we completely look at everything that Luffy's done, whether it was Marineford, whether it was drawing people to his side in Dressrosa, everywhere that he's been. Was it him or his fruit? Especially when you think about how he met all of his Straw Hat crewmates. But that'll be a video for another time. So my Nakama, those are my 17 most iconic moments from my 17 years watching One Piece. My 4th Renaissance is done. I have spent the last amazing 4 years being a part of a community and growing. And while I'm not going anywhere, this is a change for me personally. I'm collecting the tankobons and going one by one. I have a manga section that I'm truly proud of and I'll never shy away from. One Piece has been something that I kept close to my heart. And now as I enter this 5th Renaissance, it's something that helps me define who I am, how I engage with the world, and how I have fun. So my Nakama, please go ahead, if you like the video, comment down below, hashtag OPX25, if you want to show us how long you've been a part of the crew, and thank you so much for being along for this ride. I'm the Dark Britain. I hope you all take care. Stay reckless, warlords. Peace. Hey you! Yeah you, the amazing Nakama that made it to the end of our content. Hi, I'm the Dark Britain with the Runaway Warlords, and I'd like to personally say thank you for being able to check out our video. If you like what we have, go ahead and subscribe. That'll really be able to help you out. If you want to check out another video, we have one right here. And also, we have a lovely playlist for you to check out right there. I'm the Dark Britain of the Runaway Warlords. Thank you so much for being with us on this journey. We'll catch you next time. Peace.